Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Authentic Conversations. Today we're interviewing Angela Ferrante from Laudable and ReelTalk. And both Laudable and ReelTalk make it simple and easy to record video remotely. That's actually something we help with at Authentic as well. And ReelTalk and Laudable have some really unique methods for doing that. So in this interview, you're going to hear us talk a lot about video content, about Angela's methods. You'll learn a lot about video content creation with iPhones, doing it remotely and doing it for LinkedIn. And we also just talk about some of the trials and tribulations that Angela has gone through in launching and running her businesses. So I hope you enjoy. I think what's really cool about this video interview is it's very meta. We're actually doing the interview on one of your products called ReelTalk. Do you want to share a little bit about what ReelTalk does and how it can help people with their video interviews?
Yeah, it is very meta. That's a great point. So ReelTalk is basically a way to capture remote video interviews in higher quality. I think we've all seen the Zoom screenshot or Zoom video recording on LinkedIn that folks are posting, and it's super convenient when it works, but the quality is kind of crappy. It gets grainy. It cuts out with internet bandwidth issues. And so ReelTalk is a better way to record and edit this exact type of interview remotely for video content.
Yeah, and it's been awesome so far. So I'm curious where the idea spawned from, because I know with your work at Laudable, you're interviewing customers to produce customer success stories for companies. Mm-hmm. Did this idea of ReelTalk spawn out of your work there?
It did, yeah, exactly. So Laudable does remote customer story videos, and it's full service. So we will work with a company who has happy customers and customer stories they want to tell, and we will go from start to finish to turn out videos that they can use for lead generation, all sorts of different use cases that we can get into. But the key of that is that we are recording those interviews to turn into customer stories remotely. So we're doing that via phones. And our original setup was, you can sort of imagine that the tech stack here, but we would talk to an end customer of a company, and we would have them pull up Zoom on their computer and then separately tee up their phone, like right next to their computer on a tripod with a mic. And so they're looking at two screens. You can imagine the setup got pretty complicated. We were talking to them over video chat on Zoom, and then having them record on their phone independently, and then sending us that recording so that we could utilize that video and get better quality video. So that was just like, this is kind of a cluster and just really messy workflows. People were getting pretty confused about where to look and what was like the right way to talk to the camera, and just all of it was confusing. So figured there had to be sort of a better way to combine the functionality of the chat, like what we're doing now, as well as the recording.
Awesome. And I'm on my phone right now. Are you on your computer or on your phone?
I'm on my computer. So ReelTalk will support either phone or computer recording.
Gotcha. But I think it's really interesting that, all the videos that I do on LinkedIn, I record on my phone. And our phone video cameras are getting much higher quality. Mm-hmm. I use an app called Filmic Pro, which allows me to control my phone with another phone. So what's cool is I can set up my phone on a tripod, and then I can literally control the camera from the other phone, which I find has really increased the quality of the videos I make. And it's all from a phone. And I don't know what percentage across the world has smartphones by now, but it's like a massive percentage. Pretty high, yeah. It's pretty astounding, honestly. So
no, that's really, then that's an important insight, right? That was one of the core insights for when developing Laudable, was saying, okay, we could spend, months and months and send out professional videographers to record this footage, or we could let people use the thing they already have in their pocket, which is a phone, and just calibrate it so that it works well for our purposes. So totally agree.
Absolutely. And I think that roadblock, the expense of it, and also the expertise needed to record high quality video with like a DSLR, it prevents companies, especially new startups, from ever trying it. And video content is just so powerful that I think
makes it really prohibitive.
Absolutely. So What do you think is one mistake that a lot of companies make in their customer success stories that you've learned throughout your time working on them?
Yeah, ooh, good question. So one of the biggest mistakes I think that results in videos that are sort of stale or dry feeling, we actually just did, I'll send it to you. We just did a parody video of every customer testimonial video ever, because they all sort of follow the same formula. And part of that is because there's a formula that works, right? The problem, the solution. But we get so accustomed to that that we start to just tune it out, as with anything that we become too familiar with. So I think one of the biggest mistakes is following a rigid formula that results in a video or a case study that just feels really stale, right? Hi, I'm blah, 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 CMO at XYZ company. And oh yeah, I would love to recommend, Authentic because it was really great and our results were amazing. Like nobody wants to. That's not interesting. That's not showing the human side, which is what social proof is at its best.
So I'm going to kind of shift topics a little bit, talk about kind of your journey with Laudable and ReelTalk. So what is one major risk that you've taken throughout your journey that paid off? Something you were scared to do, but it ended up being a really good thing.
Personally, I guess this is both me personally and with Laudable, just really announcing to the world that this is what I'm doing. I think it gets scary especially when you're starting out as a sole founder and as the only person, really a solopreneur to begin with, to kind of stake your claim and say, this is actually what I'm doing. So just making that announcement, committing both to myself, not having a foot in, a foot out, and to the world over LinkedIn, which can be incredibly effective, but LinkedIn can also feel very vulnerable and embarrassing to be putting yourself out there all the time, especially if you're doing so in a way that's truly public. So that to me was a big risk, saying like all the other things I could potentially be interested in doing, I'm going to discard them, and I'm really focusing on this one thing.
Yeah, thank you for that. It can be scary at first, and I know that like 6 months ago I started really putting myself out there on LinkedIn and through video because I saw it as a great opportunity, and it's really paid off.
Mm-hmm.
But it is scary at first. The coolest part is that I have so many friends that come up to me who are like, "Hey, great LinkedIn videos, love LinkedIn, keep it up," and that encouragement has really helped.
That's great.
So I hope you've had some encouragement along the way as well.
Yeah, and one of the best sort of mechanisms of encouragement is just leads, right? When you have people who are like,
Yeah.
oh, this spoke to me, asking questions about it, or we need to talk to you. It's like, okay, I'm reaching somebody, and somebody who is clearly the type of person that I want to be reaching. So great, that's validation in and of itself.
Awesome. What was one of the unexpected struggles that came along your way throughout this journey you've been on?
Oh, I mean, there are tons. This is maybe minor. I wouldn't say this is one of the biggest things, but everybody hit roadblocks with coronavirus and with this pandemic, right? That I think it impacted every single business. And I won't drone on about that because there's plenty of content about it. But for us, one of the ways we do business on the Laudable side is when we're recording interviews with guests remotely, we will send them out a tripod with a light and a microphone to improve the quality of the recording. It makes a big difference, as we talked about before we got on this.
Absolutely.
Well, and we didn't typically maintain inventory of those pieces of equipment. We would order them and have them shipped directly to the end customer. Well, suddenly lead times went from 2 days to 5 weeks. And that was super problematic because we were getting a backlog of customers that we were trying to interview, but couldn't get them out recording supplies. So we sort of had this decision of, well, do we reduce the video quality, or do we wait, or do we find out some other solution? So that was sort of an interesting couple week saga, and I eventually ended up just ordering a whole bunch of supplies, maintaining inventory on those kits. We actually started selling them as well, but maintaining inventory and then shipping them out ourselves. So being a little bit of a mini distribution center over here.
That's interesting. So I'll ask you one last question. This one was inspired by a question I've heard Tim Ferriss ask. And I think it's a really good one. It might require you to think for a second, but If your future self 10 years from now came back and had a conversation with you right now, what do you think your future self would say?
Let me put myself in future self headspace.
Yeah. Kind of take that in.
This is a common one, I'm sure, right? But my future self would definitely tell me to stop worrying and stop thinking so much. I mean, we all are so in our heads these days that I think we believe our thoughts far too often and get really worked up about things. And that results in worry, and then that sort of snowballs on itself. So definitely a hearty reminder to drop some of that incessant thought, and stop worrying so much.
Awesome. Well, where can people find out more information about both of your companies?
Yeah, so me on LinkedIn, Angela Ferrante, my LinkedIn profile. Also getlaudable.com. And then lastly, for the ReelTalk product, ReelTalk.to. And that's real as in movie reel. So 2 E's, REEL, talk.to.
Awesome. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you.
All right, everyone. I really appreciate you watching this episode. If you want to listen to more of these, then definitely click subscribe on the YouTube channel. We'll be posting more of them. And if you want to be a guest actually and you're interested in being interviewed, please reach out. You can find a contact form on our website, and I'll also include one in the description below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a good one.